This question comes from Josh in Sacramento, who wonders, what would happen if every person on the planet were handed $1 million? Excellent question, Josh. But before we blast off into financial hyperspace, let's buckle up and explore what might happen to the world if suddenly everyone became wealthy. We'll begin at the point of distribution. Picture this. At exactly 8 a.m. GMT, every single person from a baby in Oklahoma to an elderly woman in Nepal receives $1 million. Some receive it on a debit card, others via PayPal, and Uncle Sam in Montana gets it in an envelope slid under his door because he still uses a rotary phone. What's the immediate reaction? Pure euphoria. Within 60 seconds, Twitter erupts with a flood of new hashtags. Number rich, number buy work, number hire dad. People begin purchasing everything in sight. Vehicles, homes, massive shark-filled aquariums. In New York, David, a 42-year-old accountant, hands in his resignation shouting, "Good luck with taxes, losers," and takes off for Vegas in a helicopter. Not because he knows how to fly, he just can now afford it. At the same time, the economy begins to emit a faint scent of smoke. Within a day, all food vanishes from grocery stores across Los Angeles. Not because the stock is gone, but because the entire staff quit. Jessica, the manager of Whole Foods, has opened a yoga retreat in Mexico. Warehouse workers are now antique furniture collectors. The vegetables are still there, but no one's stocking them. Customers toss gold coins at the registers, which are now run by TikTok holograms. By the second week, inflation morphs into its final stage. A financial Viking ship with oars crafted from worthless bills. A loaf of bread? $12,000. A cab ride? $58,000. A haircut? Only through bartering. One sack of rice and a pair of tires. People start charging their phones with luxury watches and gourmet cheese. Someone even trades a coffee table for a crate of Pepsi, because Pepsi is now considered a valid currency. By the third month, something unexpected happens. A new global hierarchy forms. Folks like Sarah from Wisconsin, who never stopped milking Cowsare, suddenly treated like nobility. They're admired, handsomely compensated, and asked to speak at TED Talks. Sarah shares, "My key to success? Don't blow your million on 200 pairs of sneakers in a week." Meanwhile, politicians are spiraling. How do we handle cash that no longer holds value? Who determines corn prices if half the population is growing it in exchange for Wi-Fi? In Dallas, city officials propose resetting everything, but instead of protests, people throw a market day where they trade socks for bananas and gasoline. 6 months in, the world resembles an advanced version of Monopoly, where players forgot the rules but keep rolling the dice. Then comes clarity. Wealth doesn't come from money, it comes from what you can do. People return to working. Peter in Texas now has an air conditioning appointment list that stretches to 2032. A cashier in Arizona, who used to stash her wages inside a teapot, now gives lectures to MBA students on how not to go insane from sudden riches. So Josh, if tomorrow someone hands you $1 million, don't be too quick to splurge. A few weeks from now, it might only get you a bottle of ketchup and a chat with a former electrician who now teaches spiritual alignment in Bali.
This question comes from Jenny in San Diego. She asks, what if everyone who lived 10 years without ever taking a loan were given $1 million? Great question, Jenny, and a daring one. Because what you've just done is unlock a reality where the word mortgage sounds like a curse from a horror film, and a credit card resembles a haunted relic pulled from an Amazon fulfillment center. Let's picture a morning. The President of the United States, coffee in hand, walks out to address the media and formally announces, from this day forward, anyone who manages to live 10 years without a loan receives $1 million. Cash, tax-free, no questions. The nation stands still. Credit limits vanish like embarrassment off flushed cheeks. Somewhere in Omaha, Joe, 45, accountant and proud credit score guardian, drops his iPhone onto the rug. He suddenly recalls financing a lawnmower, and there goes his million. Meanwhile, over in Portland, Lauren, 29, a freelance barista, has followed the rule, if I can't afford it, I don't get it, for 7 years. Her space resembles an IKEA showroom, but every item is gifted or found. Lauren slips on her recycled cotton beanie, jumps on her bike, not leased in any way, and pedals off in celebration. Just 3 years left. Then $1 million, no debt, just hers. Back in Chicago, Bobby, 54, auto mechanic, heads to the ATM with purpose. He grabs his final credit card, lifts it high, and in dramatic slow motion, feeds it into a shredder. His wife applauds beside him. In Bobby's mind, epic music from The Rock swells. Somewhere out there, a mortgage broker faints. But it's not all so easy. Picture a great migration. People bolting from banks like a theater on fire, clutching cash instead of popcorn. Loans become extinct. Banks spiral into chaos. Wells Fargo staff march with signs, "Bring back the interest." Secret debt anonymous circles pop up, where people confess, "I financed a washing machine again." Half a decade later, a new American icon takes the stage, Steve from Cleveland. He resides in a trailer, survives on oatmeal, and never uses Uber. Steve becomes a national legend. His YouTube series, How to Live Debt-Free Without Going Nuts, gains millions of followers. His dog becomes the poster pup for the Cash for Minimalism initiative. But as the 10th year nears, tension peaks. Someone breaks down and buys a couch on credit, just 1 week shy of the goal. Breakdown, sobbing, urgent therapy sessions. Meanwhile, another person makes it and holds $1 million check in hand. He strolls through town as whispers follow. That's him. He owes no one a thing. Now try to picture all of this actually happening. And there you are, right at the starting line, reviewing your credit record, asking yourself, could I pull this off? Just a single installment plan.
And it's gone. The million disappears, like a latte you forgot to pick up at Starbucks. Thanks for your question, Jenny. And to the rest of you, best of luck, because in this challenge, victory belongs only to those who can say no to credit, the couch, and the tempting buy now, pay later button.
This question comes from Jessica in Portland, Oregon. She asks, what if people received $1 million for avoiding social media for an entire year? Excellent question, Jessica. Admittedly, this kind of shift might not sit well with Mark Zuckerberg. But picture this. Tomorrow morning, the president wakes up in the White House, sips his coffee, turns on the TV, and makes a national announcement. As of today, every American who can stay off social media for 12 months will earn $1 million. The nation comes to a standstill. Phones slip from hands onto rugs, selfies vanish instantly, and the biggest digital exodus in human history gets underway. Now let's picture Jason, age 34, from Dallas. He works as a barista, but fantasizes about retiring early and living by a peaceful lake. The moment he hears the announcement, he freaks out, grabs his phone, erases Instagram, then Facebook, then TikTok, and just to be safe, he digs a hole in his backyard and buries the device. First comes uneasy silence, then a wave of joy. But on day 3, withdrawal hits. Jason stands frozen in his kitchen, realizing he was about to snap a picture of his breakfast to send to nobody. He just gazes at the omelet, as if it were some haunting symbol of the life he left behind. Meanwhile, in New York, Carla, 26, a blogger and influencer with 2.4 million fans, holds a press conference. Through tears, she bids farewell to her stories. I always knew this day would come, just didn't think it would be over 1 million. She steps off the stage, glancing back at her iPhone like it's an old flame. The audience erupts in applause, even the mayor stands. By the end of the first month, things begin to unravel. The State Department issues a pamphlet called How to Survive Without Likes. Libraries overflow with visitors. People begin reading real books again and practicing eye contact. Someone, for the first time in over a decade, realizes their dog has genuine feelings, not just an animated filter. And then comes the turning point. 11 months and 29 days in, Jason's got one final night ahead. He's standing in his kitchen, waiting for sunrise. Suddenly, a notification pops up. What? How? Panicking, he grabs a shovel and dashes outside. He digs up the same old hole. The phone looks untouched. He powers it on and accidentally taps Open Instagram. At that very second in Washington, the system activates. Jason is removed from the program, and the $1 million prize disappears without a trace. Meanwhile, somewhere in Montana, a man named Paul has spent the year chopping wood, completely unaware that he's just become a millionaire. The takeaway? Maybe the true path to wealth is finally letting go of all those cat videos.
Thanks to everyone who clicked like and subscribed to the channel. We look forward to your questions in the comments and see you in the new video.